Happy Friday, boys and girls. My name is Jeffery Scott Mitchell, coming to you live on Memorex from an undisclosed location, default route. Happy Friday. I think this week I have to check. I think I'm gonna work a 4. Should I complete this day as intended? I will have worked a full week, 37.5 hours or something like that. It's not quite 8 hours a day anymore. It's not 40 hours a week anymore. It's like 37.5 or something like this. And in a way that's significant. I mean, it really is significant considering there was a time a few months ago where I couldn't even, my mind was in body and psychologically, it had been probably months or whatever that I worked a full week. And this week I felt good during the week. I felt good. I'm still getting these damn headaches. I still got this pain in the back of my head. It comes and goes. Actually, it comes and goes, but every day. So I'm thinking it might be a muscle strain. Doesn't quite feel like a nerve, but it could be something like that. Seems to be related to my sinuses. But one thing about that is that my CVS brand extra strength headache relief pills work. And I don't want to become addicted to them. But I'm taking 1 or 2 just about every day. Like to a certain part of the day, I can start feeling the soreness or the pain or the ache start to come up in the back of my head, and a little bit of sinus pain or whatever. My nose up in here. I take a couple of them pills that'll knock it out. So I've been trying to only take 1, and it helps. 1 kind of gets the job done to knock it down. And I'm thinking that the caffeine probably got something to do with it too. Make you feel better, make you feel happier. But here I am, and this was an interesting week. It was an interesting week, and I'm starting to understand or realize or accept that I am mortal. I gotta study. I mean, in the job I got, you gotta keep abreast. You gotta read. Things are so dynamic and changing and challenging, which makes it good. It's just not come in and do the same thing every day. It changes. Like yesterday, for example, we got this new app on the phones. And all the cool people want it. And they rolled it out. I don't want to say they rolled it out hastily because I don't believe that's true. And the documentation is there. But you got to learn it. You got to find it and study it and practice it. And in my position, we don't have time. We are on the phones. There is no time. In fact, we were supposed to go, they wanted us to go in the office 3 days a week. We put up somebody wrote up a nice little rebuttal letter stating this, stating that, and they reprieved us from it until further notice. So we only got 1 day a week so far now, and because one of the reasons they did that it's because we simply don't have time. One of the things they wanted to do was collaborate and, networking and camaraderie. But we don't have time. The way we work, the way our lunches are scheduled, we're on the phones all the time. There is no room. And when there is room, in the back of your mind, or at least in mine, for the last over 10 years, is next call, next call, next call, next call. There's no, let me sit here and study and figure out this issue. Every now and then, we're tasked to go ahead and do some deep troubleshooting. But even when you're doing that, in your mind is, I'm not available, I'm not on the phones. I'm in, and when you go into like queue management or assisting customer or something like that, you're offline and everybody can see it. Not that, I worry so much or care about somebody seeing it. It's just, it's, the bosses can see it, everybody can see it. And there's even a metric about how long or how much you're assisting customer, how long you're in a manual state. That's goes on your performance. And also, this week, I got a performance report that is well below what I'm used to getting. And it may or may not be because of what I'm doing, but more so who did the QA report. When I saw my QA, I was like, whose idea was to let him do this? I mean, my boy is cool. I said, but I just know how he is. And since I don't have to deal with him directly, I almost think it's kind of cute. It's like no gray area. It's either this way or that way. Far that way or far this way. There's like no middle at all. And he's just like that. In life, it's one of those kind of personalities, blunt, don't know certain things that as an adult we learn that you shouldn't say out loud publicly. He don't get none of that. He's just unfiltered, just, it's just there's no, what's the word? Not apprehension, what's the word when you, pretense or whatever, it's just out, And I knew when he said he was doing my QA, I was like, oh Lord. I knew, it's just his personality, it's the way he is. I knew. Yeah, but sure enough, my QA went from averaging 100 for like a year straight down to 82. First time he did it. And I'm talking to my boss. I'm like, all right, yeah, I should be able to handle it. I should step up. I should, blah, blah. And if everybody else is going through this, it's not about being fair or not. Doesn't matter. But the consistency. I get a raise. It's like, I get raised a lot of concern, a lot of good points. I'm a smart person. I figure things out. And I also can figure out how to make things appear broken, if they are. Basically I get what I want. I get what I want. So I understand that a lot of times, hey, yep. Everybody want to be on Jeffery TV. You on YouTube? Yeah, everybody want to do this. And a lot of times, I want to take that burden or that responsibility off any external party. I want to be completely responsible or handle whatever comes my way. Solely me. Hey! Yeah! P-Funk, that music, that song, knee deep, funkadelic, baby. You don't know. Turn it back on. Turn it back on. See? That's my life. Some people get scared. I were apprehensive. I was just playing that. Turn it back up. Turn it back up. You should do the freak with me. The live album version. We don't want to go down that road. The live album version. Not the jam band version. That song is so beautiful. Who thought it? Who could think of something like that? But I remember when it first came out though, I didn't like it. I was coming fresh off of One Nation. And One Nation was pretty. One Nation was just a pretty song. Knee Deep is not pretty. One Nation was smooth. It's smooth, and pretty, and elegant, and just is my chance. Knee Deep was not your city. It was almost harsh. But it eventually evolved to be my favorite. That 15-minute. Then of course they had the 15-minute One Nation under a group disco version with the guitar solo in the middle. Whereas they put Knee Deep out, the whole thing. Pick up the whole side of the record. Then they had the short version. They play on the radio, but okay, that's neither here nor there. So at work or in life, when I come into a situation, I feel that I'm in total control of it, no matter what my position is, no matter where I stand, how I stand, or whatever. I feel like I have total control of the situation, or can attain total control of the situation, and then therefore can have anything I want in any situation. I can figure out a way to get it. That don't mean bullying nobody. That don't mean lying or cheating or scamming or trying to get over on somebody. It's just that I'm confident that I can find that right balance or that negotiated settlement or negotiate this or that where everybody can get what they want. Like if it's my job want me to do this or that, this or that. I'm just highly confident I can figure out a way. I can figure out a way. Not just to, like I said, not so much that where I get what I want.
I'm looking for 1100. New Jersey, which way is 1100?
I don't know. There's no signs of nothing. Well, ain't nothing that way. What you looking for?
A nursing home. Sandbars nursing home. They told me 11. It's 1111, New Jersey.
I don't know. Don't look like it's nothing down there.
It's gotta be this way, huh?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Jersey Street right there.
It's New Jersey, huh? All right. Now see, I could have got my phone out and did that. I'm trying to. I could have got my phone out and did something. I could have went, but I don't have my computer, so I can't split this video. I don't have my video on my computer, so I can't split the video. I can't split it and put it back together. That's one reason. But anyway, so I'm just used to figuring it out. So when I come into a situation, I assess the situation. You know, I position myself through the way I carry myself, the integrity, my attitude and actions and performance establish me. It comes off very quickly, and I'm intelligent and sharp and not afraid to speak, especially now at this age. I was the other day, my previous supervisor and my current supervisor was together. It was like, oh, look at this. And I frame my hands, like take a picture. Look, the previous, my two supervisors, two white females, who I respect differently. Respect one for one thing, one for the other. They both have different attributes, different, what's it when you have a higher skill set? Different, what's the word when you have? Like better parts. They're like better skills. They have different skill sets, whatever. So I'm sure I'm challenging. Because they can see it on my face. When I come and ask them something, I already know the answer. Or if I don't know the answer, it's gonna be a good one. You know, because I done thought a lot of stuff out. I just think, blah, 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 blah. If I come to them for something, it's gonna be something. Unless I'm just playing and just wanna kind of mess with them a little bit. And yesterday, in fact, it was kind of an episode where, like I was saying, that we deployed a new app to the mobility, to the phones, and you know they put it out to the public, and everybody want it. And they send out instructions, but you know instructions ain't gonna work 100% across the board. So when these people call, and it's like partners, you know, people who used to make a lot of money, people with power. And people who ain't used to, you know, having to do certain things. You know, many of them, I'm sure, just don't even try to do it themselves. Just take the device in the local and say, here, you do it. I bet many of them have personal tech guys at home, you know, to handle their home equipment, their home Wi-Fi, alarms, all of that stuff. Stereo, you know, connectivity, phones, everything. Just let somebody else do it. It's more economical for them to pay somebody than to spend time on it. They probably save money if they could work and pay somebody else to do that. Probably come out where they make more profitable. But anyway, and we got to learn that stuff. And I got a couple calls with the same system where the app didn't install. And so I was like, you know, I got to ask somebody. And I was kind of apprehensive about asking somebody. You know, I didn't want to appear to be that guy who didn't know, because very probably the information was dispersed somewhere. You know, the information was probably dispersed somewhere and all the data, and I probably missed it. I got no problem with missing emails or whatever. So I didn't want to be then. I remember, hell, you Jeffery Scott Mitchell, goddammit. Well, I didn't realize that till later, but I was like, hell, you know, how you care what people think about you? You don't usually. Anyway, if you don't know something, you ask something, more than likely somebody else don't know the answer too. And they probably way less confident than you are to ask. I don't think, what the hell? He was a partner, and I could tell by his tone that because I couldn't help him completely, yeah, I may get something back. And that's because of the way they may or may not overly respect the customer's opinion. In fact, we didn't even want to call them customers. We're co-workers. How the fuck is they a customer and we co-workers? A lot of people didn't like to use that word, customer. So we used it, and they actually thought about it, and they let us, and they said users was okay. Because I remember a long time ago, dude named Chris McAlpin was like, I ain't calling them customers. And I didn't get it, it didn't matter to me. And then I thought about it, I was like, yeah, huh. And then it's gone so far, customer service has gone so far now, that it's like a whole thing. On top of your tech. How you talk to them, what you say to them, the demeanor, all of that. It just ain't about being like my boy and just fixing it and bye. Okay, do this, whip, whip, whip. Pick that up. Does that work? Does this work? What happened to this? He just has a certain way of doing things that it's his way. I don't want to say right or wrong. It's just not the way I would do it. Like, for example, this guy wanted to send an email a certain way and have a certain response back, or, you know, certain, what's the word? Mechanism, certain steps in, you know, email process. And I was like, can we do this? I escalated it. He got it. He was like, well, why don't you call the customer back and y'all test it? I'm not doing that. I'm not involving the customer in troubleshooting and testing that. No, he ain't gonna, I wouldn't want, if it was me, I wouldn't want tech, I'd call tech. I'd call, and then they gonna call me to help them do their job. No, I would, no. No, we figure it out and they do their job and I do mine. And then I look at a lot of, and that same dude, I look at a lot of this stuff, and he just misses the point. He misses the human part of it. And it's hard for him to see things different ways. It's hard for him to understand and process things from a different point of view. But anyway, so I asked in the chat, how do we do this? And nobody answered, so I said, all right. I'm escalating it. And I escalated it, and the mobility thing came back. Oh, I need the serial numbers of the devices. And I was like, oh, that right there let me know that I didn't miss something. That let me know that even though I probably did miss something, it didn't bite me right then. Because he needed the serial number, and he went and did something. And it wasn't like a back per earlier message, blah, 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 this is what you're supposed to do. Or like per email from blah, blah, blah day, you're supposed to do this and do that. I was like, and I see the search through all the literature and stuff, or go public with your answer. I mean, what's your question? So I felt justified, and it gave me energy. It made me feel, quote unquote, better. That where the thing I was struggling with was, quote unquote, a legitimate thing. And that just boosted my whole day. I feel a lot better about that. Because I might be kind of sensitive now after getting a low performance report from Mr. Rigid anal guy. He's my buddy. I sat behind him for 2 years. I told him too. In fact, when he did it, he said, "You mad at me?" He just came out. He knew. I said, "No, man, we know how you are. I know how you are." And I told him, and I meant it. If you would ever change and become more normal or more like everybody else, the universe would take a loss. Like conformity. It's like there's certain things we learn that to conform, or maybe not adjust to, but to conform in certain behaviors and manners that aren't written, but you just know if you do that, life would be easier. In fact, one of the people who I find who's very dear to me, very dear, I look at him a lot and say, that's not the way life works. Or at least, that's not my interpretation of the way life works. That's not the way I think life works. And no wonder you're struggling and going through the things you're going through. It's like, it's obvious. It doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. So if you expect that, you ain't gonna get it. That's like, blah. I'm like, come on. And what I say is, I think too, say, look at their life and what's going on in their life versus what's going on in mine. The word successful is subjective and relative, but it's obvious that I'm much more successful in accomplishing and participating in my passions and the things that I want and desire in life and attaining them. And whereas they, it seems conflict every time they turn around. Like, how come I go through life minimal conflict and you can't even wake up and go to the bathroom without some shit going down? I don't get it. You can't do nothing without finding somebody this or doing that on you, huh?
You want my agent's number?
Yeah, that's right.
Normally I gotta talk to my agent before it's done.
Oh yeah, you gotta sign the copyright. Damn, this is talk to Jeffery on camera today. So, you know, just certain things to make. I realized, and I even told him, I used to be like you. I used to be like you, the guy with the rigid QA co-worker. I said I used to be like you. It came down to principle, and nothing but principle. It should be this way. How come it's not this way? That don't make no sense. Why do people do that? That's not the way I think it should be done, at least. And of course, back then, that's the wrong way. That's stupid. That don't make no sense. You know, that's how I would talk without the experience I had now. But now I understand that pretty much, other than math, human beings have an influence. 2 plus 2 is going to equal 4 all the time, pretty much no matter what somebody says. But kind of other than that, human beings can get in there and at the least change the narrative. Even though we know that this, and this shouldn't add up to that. But society, public, everybody, on a large, generalized understanding, know that you don't do that. You don't do this. This is quote unquote proper. This is how this is supposed to be done. You don't do that. Even though there's no law, there's nothing, no written anything. You just know. If you do that, you do it. You're free to do it. But there's gonna be blowback. There's definitely gonna be blowback. And some people don't, I guess, don't see that. That if you operate that way, you're gonna get blowback. Whether it's right or wrong, whether you're well within your bounds to do it, even if you think people shouldn't care, it's none of their business, this, that. Human beings got a way. Socialization. In fact, I'm listening to Daniel Dennett about that now, about words and socialization and how we learn, how hominids learn how to speak, and the hypothesis and ideas of how we learn to speak and talk, and the origin of language, and how working in groups, because language and speech is a group thing. You gotta have more than one person. You know, it's not, one person can't do it. The language to communicate, you gotta have presumably two people. At least two, or it's not communicating. So people have to, hominids have to learn how to live in groups and peer pressure and do this and act this way and behave this way in a group. And even the chimpanzees and the quote unquote lesser species than us. I say quote unquote because that does seem weird to say lesser. Because we are definitely more developed with, you know, conscious awareness and our brains and our functioning. And I mean, it's definitely, I mean, it's overwhelming. You know, what we've done and what we've created, what we discovered, what we built. Shit, look at all this. Look at all this. Look, everywhere you look, there's something. We built all that. We developed the stuff to build that, colors, paint, asphalt, roads. We built the roads. We built the systems and the quote unquote government institutions that could come together and build and regulate and build on this scale, and they have electricity. Even though I wish those lines, I was someplace and taking pictures. I noticed everywhere I went to take a picture, you see power lines or phone lines. And it kind of, once I became aware of it, it became irritating. But we're just used to seeing them. Look at that. Just lines everywhere, power lines, phone lines, whatever, see? They're just part of the background. I think some neighborhoods in California, they run the power lines down the middle of the block, behind each house. You know, the houses are facing towards the street. I think they run them down the middle, which I guess, you know, makes it a little bit more pleasing to look at. I mean, because you don't see them as much. And some people, Adam Carolla and they was talking about they should bury them. You know, if they're buried during the fires, they'd be better protected, et cetera, et cetera. But see, once you get aware of them, it's like hard to get away from. You look and they're there everywhere you look. And it gets irritating. I'm gonna go to Smart and Final one day. Or I might get my Price Club membership back, I don't know. I might do my Price Club membership. Never had Sam's Club, had Price Club. Used to go to Smart and Final. But I don't need that much food. But it's cheaper. You know how I am about cheap food. Well, I don't got a computer. And I could log into my YouTube account because we allowed to, you know, our work computers are opened up. And I see some people doing full-blown stuff on their computer. I was in somebody's mailbox the other day. And they had all kinds of shopping and personal stuff in it. And I was like, wow. You don't see that on mine. I keep it separate. I think I used to go to Facebook on my computer maybe years ago. And I stopped that. Because I got another computer always sitting right next to me on my phone. So today was a week. And then, like I said, when that guy came back and he kind of validated my inquiry or my question about how do I do that, and I kind of relayed the information I got back from him to the group. Nobody touched that post. I'm sure people saw it, but nobody, responded to it. Could have been they knew already. And basically, one of the ideas that made it that it was the app had been installed. They just had to search for it. They couldn't find it. A couple of them, so they searched for it and they couldn't find it. I was like, oh, okay. So I put that in the notes and took the hit and tried to turn it into a learning experience for other people. But that made me feel good. And that kind of got me up, got my spirits up a little bit. And I handled some other stuff that came through, which was cool. But you know what I did? I left my damn suitcase at home. That's why I ain't got my computer. Because I put the work computer in my backpack and I put my other computer in my carry-on, with the wheels and stuff. I packed that full of electronics and stuff. And it's heavy, and with the wheels it makes it a lot easier to, get around with it. And I forgot to close it up and bring it. Because I brought other stuff. I got my dirty clothes and got the food, my backpack and garbage. So when I walked out the house, my hands was full. I forgot that, and I got it all the way here and went out looking for my carry-on. Like, oh, it had a building there, that's one thing. So I got enough clothes to do my job and hang out for the weekend. Just don't have Mr. Scale and don't have a computer and don't have no cameras. Well, I got this one. This is a camera. I need to stop saying that because this thing works pretty good. I always got a camera with me. I'm not always recording, but yeah, I probably am. I take pictures and that's how I know where I've been and what I've done. That's my diary, my journey. Wherever I go, wherever I see, at least try to get one picture to let me know, oh yeah, that's when I was, when I went to blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's okay. And you don't really gotta write nothing or do nothing. The picture will do it. And if you got geotagging on it, it'll tell you exactly where you at, along with the time and date and location. So that's kind of cool. Or you just take it, and I'm so used to taking my phone out, whip it out, boom. I know how to double push the button, camera turns on, and point and shoot with one hand. Hit it again. Throw it in my pocket. Keep moving. So it's rare that I go and do something and not take at least a picture. At least take a picture. That video and a whole bunch of pictures. It's memories. Memories. I probably got a couple 100,000 pictures. In fact, I was gonna say when I get home, I could check to see how many pictures. I could remote into my computer and check to see, and then just scan my photos folders to see how many files it pulls up. Get a rough idea how many pictures I've taken since 1999. Remember when I first got a hold of a digital camera? Yami of all people had it. She wanted it or something, I forget how she got it. But she had a digital camera and I was like, ooh, can I play with that? I took it home and did some experimenting, this and that. Because I was already into computers and stuff. So digital camera, take digital pictures, be able to post them right to the internet. I think I had pphone1.com for maybe 2 years or so, something like that. I was like, ooh. And the resolution on that camera it was a toy, but it was the first one I ever saw. And it really wasn't a toy. It was like 640, low resolution, just low everything. Where the technology is at now is just light years ahead. But at that time, baby, we was rolling. First pictures I ever took, I got saved, organized. I can go right to them. I can go right to them right now, in fact. And wherever I'm at, I can access it. And I'm working on that too. Because MeshNet, what I was using to access all my files wherever I'm at, they're shutting it down. They're shutting it down. And I went ahead and they better shut it down. They better shut it down. Because I already went ahead and canceled my subscription. And I bought 2 years of another one. It was $125 for 28 months, where they wanted me to pay $150 for 12 months. And the only reason it made NordVPN special was the MeshNet. And they said they're killing it December 25th. I got a funny feeling it's gonna be a lot of backdrop. What the fuck was that? I got a funny feeling it's gonna be a lot of blowback from that, and they'll probably keep it. I got a funny feeling. But she didn't find it? Is that her? With her weird self? I didn't mean to call it weird. It is her. I guess she found something. She's walking up that way. At least she out here getting her steps, doing her thing. Turn it back up. Me deep, not just me. I keep forgetting that, even me, with my experience, worldly self, open to anybody and everything, this and that, even I get apprehensive if somebody was like, hey, first thing is what? First thing is, what you want? But I do that less and less. I kind of understand. So many, like I said, even walking on this, so many people reached out and made comments towards me, positive. But that's what I'm used to. I'm not used to, people coming off the wall at me. So I'm not as apprehensive. Actually, it depends on where I'm at. All right. If I'm on Crenshaw, if I'm in the hood someplace, that just goes with the territory. You almost got to be on guard. You're supposed to walk around with that kind of on guardness. If you don't, you look weird. You stand out. Now, it's different if you're on Fremont Street in Las Vegas. You can be as bad as you want, because that's the setting. You know, people come up to you, talk to you, say all kinds of stuff to you. You know, you're just used to it. Having strangers just interact with you. But if you're in the hood, you know, most people ain't acting that way, or body language ain't like that, or the energy ain't like that. And it stands out. Again, that goes with the, you know, protocol, the unwritten rules of what you're supposed to do, quote unquote. Unwritten, you just learn them. And if nobody taught you, you know, like my man at work, I don't think nobody taught him. Or you just pick it up I picked it up as I went through life. I noticed if I did this or did that to an adult, even if I was right, they still win, whatever win meant back then. Win meant something back then. They still have the authority. I remember one time I was washing an electric frying pan or electric skillet, and I read on my mother said, don't, you know, she's like, don't immerse that. Don't, when you wash that, don't immerse it. Don't immerse it. Well, I read on it. It said it's immersible. And I showed her. And she's like, basically, don't do it anyway. Or, you know, whatever. You know, she stepped up her authority in the tone of voice to let me know. I can be right as the day is long. But she the authority, and where she won't goes. I learned that eventually at jobs. And when I was hired to do something or participate in a group, even hanging out with the fellas outside. The biggest and the oldest usually had the, you know, got their way or had the authority or had more sway towards, you know, what happens or what don't happen. Something like that. You know, they were the dominant. You can be right as you want to be. It don't matter. That's where that human element come in to take over. Whew. Gas went up 20 cents. I used to have to pay $4.19. $4.19 for the middle grade for 87 unleaded plus. Now it's $4.39. It's been a couple days since I did this walk too. One day it was raining. Next day I was just tired. I just didn't feel like it. I was tired and I just didn't feel like it, so I didn't. I was tired and I just didn't feel like it. So I stayed in the bed. It was like you can stay in the bed for an extra 3 hours. Instead of getting up at 9, I'd have to get up till 12 or 11:30. That extra 2.5 hours came in handy. Get some rest. Rest is important, especially at my age. And see, I'm out here this weekend. I'll be traveling the next weekend, and weekend after that probably, 3 weekends. So I may not have a Jeffery weekend for a month. Cause look, last weekend, no, I had last weekend. Last weekend, yeah. I did my thing last weekend. I did. Okay. I did my thing last weekend. And then here it is. Everybody want to be on Jeffery DB. So last weekend I got one. This weekend I'm here. Next weekend I'm there. Week after that I'm there. Week after that I'm there. So I ain't 4 weeks. Like 5 weeks before I get another down day. Actually, nope, because I'm gonna have to work. What I might do is I could probably squeeze a couple days when I'm away. I could probably get a hotel room on like a Sunday and Monday or something like that. No, Monday I gotta work. Or maybe on Saturday? I don't know, just to have some time, you know, to myself that I deem to be extremely important. But happy Friday. Happy Friday. We're gonna go here, knock out this Friday, finish up the week, approve my time card, come back Monday, see how much PTO I acquired. I think I took off 4. I think I took off 4, 2. I think I took off 3.5 hours. And I usually get 8 hours. So I might come in with 4. And I should just put me right around 30 hours. I should have like 30 hours PTO come Monday. This week coming up, I don't think I have to. Yeah, I do. I am taking a day off next week. To travel. I think I got everything booked. Yeah, I do. I think I got everything booked. See, the thing about this whole booking thing. All right, I'm gonna spend $90 to rent a car. And then you gotta pay to park. At the hotel I'm staying at, parking is ridiculous. There's a parking garage in the back. You gotta pay to park. And that's like $12, $15 a day. So about $120 for the car. But I have the convenience, but the car just sits there. There's no reason to even use the car. The car just sits there. And if you go in and out, you don't get your space back. You don't get the space you had back. You know, you gotta pay for another. It adds up. But it's nice having the convenience of your own vehicle, leaving and going back to the airport. When I gotta get back to the airport to fly to the next stop, to have that power and that freedom, flexibility, and control, it's worth the value. It has a value. It definitely has a value. It definitely has a value. Especially for me. So I don't like to be involved. Involve less moving parts as possible, especially moving and thinking and conscious parts. Less as possible. Today is Be on Jeffery TV Day. So many people talk to me or got involved and want to whoop it up. You gonna be on YouTube? Blah, blah. Yes, I am. Well, anyway, guess what? Guess what after 55 minutes? I bet you can guess and figure it out. I bet you can guess and figure out what comes next. You know what I'm getting ready to do, don't you? Swinging on y'all 2 times on this glorious Friday. For me, for the phone, and for every elementary particle that has ever existed in any atom, in this, or in any universe that ever was, is, or will be. The totality of it all, a theory of universe. Hypothesis of all as one. My name is Jeffery.